Let's go, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. As our friends in the chat, Mr. Frank has pointed out, this is the first episode of our second year on the air, on the YouTube, in the podcast streets. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us. It is September 4th, 2024, and this is episode 53. And as always, I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co-host, Derek Kwan.
What is up, everyone?
All right, we've got a fun one for you today. We had a busy, long Labor Day weekend. We were both out in those poker streets, getting up a lot of experience and hanging out with everybody. So we're going to start, as always, with results from the Commerce Hold'em series, which just kicked off, and the Legends of Poker, where the Mega Millions just wrapped up with some exciting results.
And your very own Roundup boys out there cashing over this weekend, both making deep runs in a couple of tournaments.
That's right. We both some stories from the field. And then, I spent the weekend over Commerce at the Hold'em series. I have some thoughts. We started last week when we were looking at the schedule, but just having played through the series and taking a closer look at some stuff, I got some kudos and I got some bones to pick. So.
And we got some updates to our Player of the Year. Unfortunately, I did not score anything for my deep run because the quantums don't count, but I'm excited to see, who's kind of moving up the leaderboard.
Quantums don't count. That's right. It's too weird. It's too confusing. We're borrowing the system from a non-quantum system. And then after that, we've got some interesting articles and some announcements popped up over the week. We have a cool opinion piece from Ari Engel about what he'd like to see in tournaments. And in the EPT over there in Barcelona, they implemented a bunch of rules and changes really quickly in response to stuff like the World Series, like some other kind of controversies that popped up. So we'll take a look at that.
And the Hawk Tour girl, ended up at a CPT Celebrity Poker Invitational, and the poker community kind of had a reaction to that, and we want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Did you? I didn't watch it. I wonder if anybody in the chat watched it. So when we get there, you'll have to let us know what you all thought. And then finally, the weekly roundup. The Gardens has announced their schedule. We will go over that. It's a short one, nice 1 week fall special, and we will take a look and see if there's anything to get excited about. All right. So why don't we jump right into the results? I mean, everyone wants to know what happened this weekend. We have the very first trophy being handed out from the Commerce Hold'em series that Labor Day weekend. Unfortunately, that is not me in the picture, but congratulations to Michael Dollins, who is in first place after the final 6 players agreed to a chop, and he took home $32,000 with first prize. That's almost the entire first prize, honestly. He must have had a massive chip lead. Congratulations to the other top 6 choppers on a couple very familiar names. Second place, Jackie Lee got 16 grand. Third place, Gabe Okoye, 13.8. Fourth place, Beth Hall, 11,000. Way to go, Beth. Fifth place, Devin Hyun, and sixth place, Nam Trin. Now, typically we would have to wait a little longer to see the rest of the final table, but our field reporter extraordinaire got us some more results. So let's take a quick look down the rest of the final table here. In seventh place, Rogelio Pina from Lancaster there got 5 grand. Eighth place, Xiao Huang for 4.3. Ninth place, Wu Chen for 3.3. Looking down the list of other cashers, some very familiar names. Mr. Daniel Higginson got 11th. Way to go, Daniel. And then down here we see Eugene Tito. I can't quite tell the place. It looks like 20th. And so congratulations, Eugene. And so this was a pretty fun event here. We also have a preview of the results from the second event they ran this weekend, thanks to field extraordinaire Frank. Thank you, Frank. So that was event number 2, the $400 No Limit Hold'em Bounty event. Winning that one was Jesus Ramirez, taking home 4.7 plus bounties. We aren't sure what kind of bounties these guys got. Second place was Robert Rohr. Third place was Fariba. I hope this isn't the fella. Someone told me that I'm mispronouncing their name terribly, so I hope it's not this one. Fariba Tishush. Then George Halu. George is the man over at Commerce. He is the one who kept winning every single player of the month when they were running those, if you remember. Fifth place.
Oh, yeah.
Old George. So congratulations, George, getting a nice little score there. Fifth place, Larry Tran. Sixth place, Victor Kruglov, another Commerce reg. Seventh place, Yan. Eighth place, Johnson Lee. And ninth place, Tianping Shu. And since there's only 10, we'll read 10th place was Jagdish Kakumanu. So Jay, if you recall, knocked me out in third place from getting my second Remington. Freaking rivered me. Anyways, congratulations, Jay. So those are the results we have from the Commerce so far. So it's off to a pretty good start. They beat the guarantee on that first event by about, wow, that is a typo because it says prize pool 17,000. I'm assuming that prize pool is 170,000, and they beat the guarantee by about 50K, which was very conservative, 120K. So nice start.
Yep.
Off to a good start. All right.
Yep.
So now let's talk about the really big event, the one that you were in, the one that was taking place, just finished a couple hours ago. And I got to say, this is probably one of the most exciting results that the bike could have hoped for. That and this is good for LA. It'd be nice if this kind of gets out there and gets put around. I am, of course, talking about the one and the only Phil Laak, the Unabomber, taking down the Mega Millions, number 27. Congratulations. And we had a few comments when we were looking at this about his fit. He was really rocking some pretty awesome shirts all weekend, honestly.
Yeah, I need that shirt actually.
Yeah, well, first you got to get unstuck, right?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe he was wearing it and got unstuck.
Yeah, I was looking actually at the coverage. His day 2 shirt, his day 1 shirt, day 3, they were getting a little snarkier as the days went on. So I love it. Phil, as you know, he's been getting more and more involved in the LA community again, which is great. I've played with him a few times over at Commerce lately. I know a couple other of you around have as well, and he was doing and is involved with the live at the Commerce. So great to see Phil out there, and he won it outright. There was no chop. We have the report from Kevin Taylor said that there were several chop talks, and he said, "No, sir, we are going to play," and he took the whole thing down. So way to go. Let's take a look at some of the other final table lists and some of the other cashers, though, since we do have all this great coverage from Kevin on here. So second place, by the way, Phil took home where's the number? Phil took home 380,000 for that first place win. So holy cow.
Yeah.
Second place was Behzad Tirani for 250,000. Not too shabby. So congratulations to Behzad. Let's take a look at some of the other final table lists. So in third place, we had Amir Degan, 156,000. Fourth place, our highest finishing woman in the event, Anne Bui. Man, I work with a guy named Bui. I'll have to tease him and see if he knows this person. But congratulations, Anne Bui, 116,000. And fifth place, we have, let's see, lots of coverage. Fifth place, Leo Weisberg, 90,000. Congratulations. And then I'm not getting the rest of this final table here. All right. So we will definitely cover the rest of these as I either find them or we get the official easy to read printout.
I do have some feedback for this poker blog.
Mm-hmm.
It is like hard to find things.
It really is.
See, like they post a link on Twitter, and I'll click it, and I'm like, oh, but then when you go to the site, you can't find it.
Yep.
And I don't know why that is. And then like as you're saying, it's like you almost have to go into the calendar and click on a date to find like an update from that day. It's just not like a infinite scroll type of situation. So yeah, it's a very difficult to navigate website.
No, I 100% agree with you. It's impossible to find things quickly. And it's super frustrating for these events where the worst time to find something is on the rollover of the month. Because once you're on the first of the month, that little calendar with the month is no longer there. You have to do other stuff to like try and get to it. You have to go down and then you click on the whole by month at the bottom. Then you have to find the day from there, but it doesn't really give you the date. Yeah, it's impossible. The search is honestly your best bet. But if you're searching for someone like, say you're searching for someone who's a real reg there, I mean, you're going to get so many articles, and you can't just search for like Mega Millions, right? So it's just so hard to find anything. So, absolutely. So we'll talk about all the other. There were a lot of really notable names in that final kind of top 60, yourself included, and a lot of real killers. Really cool to see Phil make it all the way through there. So why don't we start there? Since I have this open, why don't we talk about your run, man? I only played a single day one for the Mega Millions last weekend. I did not bag up, so I opted out and decided to play the Commerce Hold'em series this weekend. But you got in there and you fired, and you tell us how it was, and I'll try and find your bust out post.
Yeah, and Greg in the chat, can I give my thoughts on a day three field? I absolutely will. So first of all, I am still in the midst of like one of the worst like downswings in my entire life, not just like from a money and like results perspective, but also just from like crazy like bad beats. Like all, unfortunately, my poker chats, my group chats get the butt end of me having to post all my like bad beat stories. But I am just like kind of getting absolutely run over, and all the day ones were no different. Um, so I actually fired, I think something like 7 bullets, and I bought direct into day
Wow.
2A and day 2B. So I mean, I was already like
So
close to
that's
10K,
that's basically
10K,
three day two buys right there.
right? So it was like a pretty brutal run, but luckily, so I mean the day 2A though, the first day two, I punted. I definitely punted for betting like King 10 offsuit into like Ace King. I don't really
Oh,
know what I was thinking. Well, I mean, I do know what I was thinking. Like that player obviously is like somebody who could be a little bit light there, but probably I should have just taken a little bit more of a cautious route.
look, this is my shocked face. If, as you recall, as people recall in the stories, the first time I remember playing with Derek in a real tournament was the Mega Millions, and he did the exact same thing, except I think it was King 8 or King 6, and I had
Yeah,
Ace King
I
then
will.
too.
Yeah, I will punt into you when you have ace king. So definitely, take the more aggressive route with me. But then, day two B, it was interesting because I was actually like really card dead most of the day, and then it would just get like one decent, good hand, strong hand, every 2 orbits or so. But luckily, a couple of those hands just won me really big pots. And just basically was able to just maintain me all the way through the day until I basically ended up with a million chips at the end of day two, eh? Nothing I think like super significant happened. It was just like a nice day where I was able to just grind my way through it. Day three was crazy. Like as you mentioned, day three was actually stacked with like a ton of really good players. It was unbelievably stacked. But then there was also a big mix of people that maybe we're not as familiar with. And many of those people actually made the final 18 and all the way to the final table. You may not recognize many of those players. So it was actually nice that the quantums are still with all of its drawbacks, still sending a lot of kind of amateur, kind of, not heavily experienced or big hand and mob type of, results type of players, like really deep to these tournaments and getting big scores, which is super nice. But definitely the day three, interestingly, the better players were all at other tables, and my table was a little bit, a bunch of unknowns, but that doesn't mean that they weren't playing well. My table was aggro as freaking hell. It was unbelievable how aggressive they were, and I was like really card dead, so I was just sitting there with like, trying to hold my hands up and just try to like protect my chip stack. And I was basically just a little bit under the average for almost all the way through until, basically like my bust out. Um, but yeah, I mean, some crazy hands happened where I actually got really lucky. I called in like a 12 BB jam over my raise with ace jack. He had ace queen. I was able to revert jack.
Nice.
I did win a pretty big pot on a flip with nines against ace 10. So, here and there, it was like mostly just folding. I think I was probably B pipping like around 10% or something ridiculous like that. But then the hands that I did play, I was able to, basically just maintain my stack and kind of keep it up. And until the very last hand, basically what happened was Dylan Lind, who was, one of the studs that was there, came into the table to my right. I think it was like the second hand he was there. It folded him in a small blind. I had about 11 bigs behind, and he just shipped it in. Look down. I have sevens. Basically an easy call. I flip it over. He has king 10 offsuit. The flop came 5, 8, 9 of diamonds, and I had the 7 of diamonds. So basically, I had a hammer lock on this hand. And then he ends up turning a king, like a king of spades or whatever, to top pair, and I miss like a million outs on the river. The bust from the hand in 20 eighth place, which is one from that money jump, was another
Yeah.
1K to 10K, which is really frustrating. And at the moment I didn't want to do one of those things where it's like, hey, can you guys let me tank for 2 minutes while I look at the L tables? I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna call this off and hopefully win the flip. But that would have even with that double up, it would have been the same thing where I was always like short. If I doubled up, I was still like maybe 10, 20% below like the average stack, but it was just enough to keep me going, right, and kind of waiting for waiting for my spots. But it was a really great experience. I'm glad to have finally made a deep run after so much kind of like bad stuff that's been happening to me this year. So hopefully this is me kind of turning things around. Yeah.
Yeah, here's hoping, man. I mean, you got. So it sounds like after all that buying, though, you really only finished even on this particular event. But it's nice to
Yeah.
know that you can get there, make that run. And I'm looking. I have up your round of your pay jump of knockouts, and just looking at just these 9. I mean, these names are really
Yeah.
impressed around here. I mean, Rick. Rick Meshamil, he just final tabled the classic. I mean, he got third, right? I think on the classic there. I mean, you got
Yeah.
Andrew Ostapchenko, who's been just killing everything, playing high rollers, playing everything all around. He won the one up in San Francisco area, the Bay Area earlier. Johnny Bromberg, he
Yeah.
was playing great around here. Then he went back to Florida and he shipped a huge tournament back in Florida last year. And he just comes back to try and take all our money in the quantums. He's killer,
Yeah.
And then looking around here, I mean, look, we got good old
And
Mike
Danny
Liang
Wong,
here. Mike
and Danny
Liang.
Wong
Oh,
too.
and Danny Wong.
Danny
Yep.
Wong
Danny
is a
Wong.
long time pro, but yeah, it was just an unbelievable stack field.
Yep, got this Michael Yang here, who's having an amazing year. We've talked about him a couple times. Got his first bracelet this year. Won the Lodge main event. And yeah, I mean this field for this day was just packed, absolutely
Yeah.
packed.
I mean, we didn't, Dylan Lind. It was like Sohail. It was just so many players. Unbelievable.
So
Laak, obviously, yeah.
yep. So that's amazing. Congratulations, man. Big congratulations. And yeah, it sucks you didn't get any points for the player of the year. That would have been a nice one to get some points on the board. But the good news is now that we're over here in the Commerce Series, all of the bigger events are going to count. And before we head over to Commerce, I just want to kind of a big story over the weekend is on that day too. While you were over there, there was a tragedy at the bike, and we don't know this person, so we won't have a lot to say, but just kind of like just thoughts and prayers kind of situation. I was playing in the side event after I busted out of the Commerce day 2. I came over and played in the side event, and about 2.5 levels into it, an older gentleman, and I talked to someone who was at his table. This guy said that this older gentleman just finished playing a hand, was talking to someone, was kind of shaking his head, but it became clear really quickly that he wasn't shaking his head anymore to answer the question. He was kind of like having a seizure or something. Was totally losing it, out of control of his body or whatnot, and they had to call security over. And before I even noticed, when I finally noticed, he was out. He was leaning back into security's arms. Medics were coming, and kudos to the bike. The response time was really good. It felt like from the moment I saw the medics were like, I think that security was there obviously like right away, and then within probably 5 minutes or so, medics were over there. They had him, they started clearing the area. They had him on the ground, and they were working them with. I think someone said they probably got the that automatic defibrillator out. They had a respirator on them. They had everything, and then the local police and fire came pretty quickly. So they did everything they could. Can't confirm, but we do hear that he may not have made it. So really, really sad story. Really puts a damper on the day. Just kind of a reminder to make sure to take care of yourself and to I don't know. There's not much else to do. Hopefully, I guess hopefully he was really, doing what he loved at least, and they got him care as quickly as they could. So that's a sad story from the weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah, super sad to see, but also puts things into perspective of how important your health is, how important your life is. How your loved ones. You just never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
But again, kudos to the bike for their very, very fast response, professional response.
Mm-hmm.
They really protected his privacy, surrounding him, were keeping players away, and then also brought those
big screens
sliders.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, so it was a really, really professional response from everyone there.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, and like you said, it really puts into perspective. Anybody felt like they had a bad beat story or feels like they're having a run bad. I mean, we're playing a game. I mean, you gotta have perspective.
Right.
All right. So while you were over here trying to win, over $250,000, I was just kind of chilling over at Commerce, blasting away with my buddies, hanging out with my friends, Daniel and Beth, and all my friends over there. So we were having a great time over at the Commerce. It was a good event. And I tell you what, it was a $300 event with $60 rakes. And this event, if you just love poker, I feel like you missed out on the deal of a century, because the structure for this event was way too good. And I want to compare it in a little bit with the structure for the Mystery Millions again, or with not millions, but the Mystery Bounty. This structure was fantastic. You got 50,000 in chips, and they did not skip many levels up until they well past registration ended. So like probably not until like level 10 or so. And then for day 2, they rolled it back, and they rolled it back a lot. They rolled it back 5 or 6 levels. They rolled it back to level 14. Wow. So what they did was they rolled it all the way back to the 3,000, 6,000 level. And remember, you started with 50,000 chips, and it was 1 in 10 advance. So we were starting day 2
Oh my
with an
gosh.
average of like 86 big blinds.
Wow.
I bagged
That's insane.
400K and I came in, so that I'm coming in with like 66 big blinds. Like this was amazing. Like what kind of a $300 multi-day tournament will you ever have day 2 starting at 66 or at a yeah, at like a 80 something average big blind stack. Like that's insane. So play was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's almost feels like too slow for the prize
No,
money. You
that's
know
so
what I
that's
mean?
where that's what I was gonna get to. As a player, this was fantastic for fun, fantastic
Yeah.
value. Not great ROI,
Yeah.
but like if you're just like for the true rec who I just want to play some poker, this was amazing. But I have this to say, I have to imagine now and then for the afternoon flights, no turbos anywhere. They're all the same thing. So I have to imagine that the commerce this event had to have lost them money. There's no way because let me tell you why. So they started the flights at 11 a.m. Then they had a second flight, right? And they had a second flight at 2. And I bagged up on the very last 2 p.m. flight, and those bagged up around after 1:30, so like 1:30, 1:40, somewhere around there. So they've got staff there from 11 till almost 2, till around 2. At the end of the third day of flights, and then during the day 3, I could see the dealers were tired. They were yawning. They were asleep. I was tired. At the end of the day, at like 11:30, I'm asking the dealers, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm." It's like I'm on my 11th hour. It's like, and you know what that means? That's double time. Like that means Commerce is paying them double time, which is awesome for the dealers. I love that they're making the money, but like Commerce, man,
Yeah.
on the one hand, as a player, I love that I only paid $60 in Rake, still a decent percentage, but $60 in Rake had this awesome event. But like, what are you doing? Like, how are you running this event? It was a smallish event technically. Like, it's like this is
Yeah.
what? Where's the economy here? Where's the economics? Which it's weird. Okay, but like I said, it's great value for me. The next thing though is you have this awesome structure, great events. Like, okay, so is that what this is going to be about? Is the Hold'em series going to be about awesome value, awesome structures? And it's like, no, it's not. What's it going to be about? Well, I don't know because look, the mystery bounty, the structure is freaking terrible. I pointed this out last week. This was the one here. And now the mystery bounty rolls back to level 12 on day 2. Okay, level 12 on day 2 of the mystery bounty is 4,000, 8,000. Level 14 of this one was 3,000, 6,000. Oh, and by the way, you start with 10,000 more in chips. Like, what? And this
Oh
is a
yeah, I remember we were
$600
talking about
tournament.
this.
What?
Yeah, we're basically, what I was saying last week is bounty tournaments tend to move faster anyway because people are going for, bounties.
Right.
Um,
So to also
like,
accelerate,
yeah, weird. It's weird.
like I don't understand. And now, and the other thing, now this is a smaller thing, but it still just kind of shows like what the heck. The no big blind ante to level 4. There's no gradual ramp up. You just go from 2-4 to 3-6-6. So that blind change is essentially it's essentially going from 400 big blind to putting in 1,200. It's like what is going on? Um,
Yeah. I wonder
and
who did this.
I don't know. And here's the thing: they realize it though. They know that's a fast structure because you have 40K in chips, but they have 2 mystery bounty flights every day, whereas also a $600 event, but with a better structure, the XL bounty, which is that one, the XL bounty, they only have a single starting flight for most days, except for the last couple. So for Tuesday, Wednesday, here's the XL bounty. So for Tuesday, Wednesday, and okay, for the first 2 days they only have a single one. Now for this one, it looks like they did add turbos on for the later dates. Let me see if that's reflected here. I didn't see it when I looked at the schedule, honestly, a second ago. Turbo. Okay, so they know because for the XL bounty, they had to make their flights turbo, but for these other ones, they didn't change the afternoon structure at all. And
Yeah.
also, there's fewer afternoon flights because they start them earlier in the week, Tuesday as opposed to Wednesday, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like they did realize this is a faster structure. I'm just really curious what the heck they were thinking here. Um,
Yeah.
it
I don't get it.
it's weird, and honestly, like I said, I was telling you earlier, I almost decided to go up to play at the MSPT at the Venetian this weekend instead because these structures and these buy-in points and these, just the general enthusiasm, I'm concerned about this, and also that structure just makes me feel like it's going to be, just real. I don't mind gambling and all, but like it's just going to feel like that kind of an event. I feel like so it's going
Yeah,
to
I
be
remember
interesting.
talking about this a long time ago in one of our earlier episodes where I was talking about, solving problems from like a first order effect without thinking about secondary and
Mm-hmm.
sort of tertiary effects and consequences of things, right? This really feels like we don't understand what the first order problem they were trying to solve is, but they were after something.
Yeah.
But I don't think they really thought through like what happens,
Right.
when this, like when you get the level here and when you get the level there, or the very first time antes are introduced, how big are you jumping? The what the big blind has to pay. Yeah, it's a little odd.
Yeah, and honestly, the messaging was kind of off. Um, I didn't even realize we rolled the blinds back on that opening event. I just assumed it was like the openers for like LAPC used to be, where you get, these big, cheap multi-flighters used to be, you get to day two, the cash out line's 40 people deep in the first 10 minutes because everyone was short and the
Right.
blinds are high. But I didn't even realize, and I wasn't the only one. Many, many, many people, when we found out that we rolled back, were like, "What? I didn't know that." Like, they didn't really get the word out, or maybe more people would have been interested potentially because, like I said, this was a fantastic structure for the price. The other thing, I guess here I can quick tell you how I did. I didn't get to play on Friday, so I played on Saturday. First day one flight, I did okay. I was chugging along at average, and then I kind of punted slash tried, thought I was gambling for a decent stack, but turns out I was like dead, tens versus kings. Then the next three bullets, I fired one in the afternoon, got nowhere. Next day, fired two in the morning, got nowhere. So basically, my next 3 or 4 bullets, I couldn't get a thing going, couldn't win a hand, couldn't get dealt anything, couldn't get anything held. Final bullet, last bullet of the day, last bullet in the last flight. Finally started having fun. Finally got a table that
Nice.
was kind of fun. Was winning. I still wasn't getting good hands. I didn't start getting. I never got. So in 6 bullets, I never got a pair better than tens until the last 2 hours of the last flight. I never got. I think I lost with ace queen like 6 times during those 6 flights, and the only hand that I got that was good that would sometimes win was ace king, and that was it. Like never a pair better than tens, never anything until the last two, whatever. So, but I was finally at the last table, I was winning with crap like 3-6 and 2-5, and it was fun as you know. So that was working for me for once. But so that final bullet, make it deep into the day. Finally, bag up 1:45 or so. I get home after 2. Start again at 11 the next day. I mean, that's another thing. It wasn't a turbo flight. We ended that late. The next day we started at 11 because the rollback was so
Wow.
extreme. I almost would have
Yeah.
preferred like why don't we just roll back to level
Right.
16 and start at noon? That
Right. Right.
that could be better, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I appreciate starting earlier, but at the same time I played this flight and the dealers are dead. I'm dead. It's just like I mean honestly, I told you at late in that early in the day rather, we were all tired and we got in this multi-way thing with a side pot. Literally the dealer's like kind of just looking at the chips before won't put the flop out. We're trying to figure out. So I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm tired. I don't want to do math. The guy across the table is trying to help. And they're like trying to figure out what goes in the middle. I think they got it wrong. So I'm like, all right, hold on. I literally got my calculator out. I'm like, okay, wait. The all-ins how much? Okay, you raised how much? Let me subtract. Okay, let me times 2. Here it is. Cuz like we were all just so tired. I mean,
Oh my God, that's terrible.
yeah, it was crazy, man. Um, so I mean, I don't know that it was fun. It was a good structure. It's just some of these things, these are the little logistics. Everyone's dead. Everyone's tired. They're playing, and
Yeah.
they're in the LAPC. It's like this for these guys, but with the grind. But like, I don't know if they want to do that now. Um,
Yeah.
oh, one other thing I wanted to point out. So I just noticed this today, and I was telling you about it. So they're running every day of the week almost. They're running these $150 um, no limit hold'em deep stacks at 4 p.m. All right, it seems okay. It's just like their dailies. However, what the heck? They're running the mystery bounty flight, the second flight at 4 p.m. at the exact same time.
Why would you do
What?
that?
I mean, I guess
Don't you want?
150 and 600 are kind of far apart ish, but you're
Yeah.
also running Landmark Mega at 7.
Right.
Why not just
Have people
start that
all in,
earlier or
all
something?
in, all in for the mystery bounty. And if you're compelled to run like a 1 day, then just do it. I don't know. Just don't do it on these
Yeah,
days. Like just get people into the mega, get people into the mystery bounty.
absolutely. I mean, it seems pretty simple. Like if you're running a multi-flight event with guarantee, go all in on it. Sure, run a mixed event if you want because those are different. That's a more different audience. But like you're running a big multi-day hold'em tournament series, just go all in on it. Why are
Yeah.
you doing that? Yeah,
You're gonna hurt.
DJ's in the
You're
chat
gonna.
saying they have no director, and it's true. They still don't have a director. So I guess one last thing I want to point out is it was kind of funny. It was kind of not, because you know how I like to talk to all the at Commerce. I love the dealers at Commerce. It's so consistent. They're always the same dealers, just like at the bike. They're always so
Yeah.
good and they're funny. But like I'm telling people about the history of the series this year, how it was almost not going to happen, how it just jumped up, how they have no director, and I'm like, yeah, no, it's true. These dealers, they didn't even think they were going to be doing this until a week ago, and the dealers sitting there like, yep, yep. I'm like, yeah. They usually find out about this like a month and a half, 2 months ago, but they literally just got the call 2 weeks ago, and the dealer's like, yep. Sandy's like, yeah, that's what happened. I'm like, see, like they didn't even know. This is just like out of nowhere.
Right.
So and then the schedule kind of reflects it, like you said, like why am I running a 150 on a 600 flight? Like there were 20 something people in that 4 p.m. flight for the mystery bounty, and there were 50
You're
something
gonna.
people in that flight for the 150 that
You're
150
gonna
deep
hurt.
stack.
You're gonna hurt your mystery bounty tournament. You're gonna hurt your mystery bounty players who are kind of hoping for a big prize pool. It doesn't make any sense. You've just cannibalized your own tournaments.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
I think they quote unquote fixed it a little bit for the XL bounty. Like when the XL bounty starts running afternoon ones, they aren't doing that. But I don't know why they did it for this mystery bounty. It's just so strange. Like
Yeah. It's a
priorities,
little
have some
chaotic.
priorities, people.
Yeah, it seems a little chaotic.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Oh yeah. So then I bagged up. Went to day two. My day two table was fine. I had a great start again. First hand won some chips with Ace King, and then after that things got weird. Finally got some good hands. Lost with all of them. Lost with queens. Practically final hand was what did I bust in? I busted. So this one and the classic, I busted on a pay jump bubble. I think this was like 47th or something. Had aces under the gun, raised, got jammed on, snapped, and yeah, king on the flop. So what are you gonna
Brutal.
do? What are you gonna do?
Brutal.
So that was that one. My there wasn't much to report on mine. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But man, oh Jesse's reporting for us here. He says they had more people where in the what? I can't in the chat. Oh, that might be true.
Yeah.
You might have more people than the afternoon flight. That would be awesome. I'm not looking at the statistics, but that would be kind of a funny like crying kind of thing. It's actually pretty close. We had 24 people in chat. They had like 26 people, I think. That's our challenge.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the best because I do want regardless of the chaos of this and the abruptness of like popping this up here, I'm always like rooting for the LA casinos to be doing well, the card rooms to be doing well. I just kind of dumb when they're shooting themselves in the foot in their own tournaments by doing stuff like this. But I do hope that people do show up for the mystery bounty. Although, are you actually going to play the mystery bounty this week?
I am, yeah, because I'm not going up to the Venetian. Like I said, I'm gonna. Spoiler alert! If you're at my table, I'm gonna play like I usually do. Over there, it's gonna be a lot of gambling. It's gonna be a lot of there's gonna be a lot of chips flying around because there's no time not to.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is actually when I look back and I wish I tracked my live results a little bit better. But I've done really well in bounty tournaments, even though I don't like bounty tournaments.
Oh,
I
yeah.
finished second in one of the Commerce where I almost won a trophy. I've final tabled like a couple of other ones. So I was actually not going to play this week because I noticed that ACR has a $1 million high roller, $1 million guaranteed high roller on Sunday because their OSS is starting.
Okay.
And I haven't been playing on ACR at all. I missed the last the last Venom, but maybe I might actually just grind on Sunday. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'll have to decide.
I'm the same way. I mean, I've said it a bunch on this show. I say it to everybody. I don't like bounties in general. I don't like any kind of bounties, and I really hate mystery bounties. But I think my like cash on bullet rate in mystery bounties is like absurd. I mean, I think it's like approaching 50% or something. Like I'm bad once I get into the bounty portion, but like just making it to the day two with the cash part, I feel like my mystery bounty cash rate is like just insane, which is ironic. It's just like, of course I hate mystery bounties. I do well in them, right?
Yeah. I almost just feel like it's more luck than it is like anything specific I'm doing in the bounty tournaments. I think it's just like, I'm just running well in the bounty tournaments or something. But it is odd that I do feel like I go very deep in a lot of bounty tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's the players and it could be the style as well. All this stuff could contribute.
Yeah.
So who knows? But, I'll do them. We'll do them because it's here, and I decided that I'm too lazy to drive to Vegas this weekend. So, yeah. All right. So, one exciting thing though was that Hendon finally picked up the results from the Park West Classic weekend, which means
Nice.
I got to update our Player of the Year results. So, as I kind of predicted, Mr. Aaron Zhang and Kwok and Q got huge boosts from that weekend, from Q's final table of that Park West Classes and Aaron's shipping of the cheaper event, but still big. I think there were still like 600, 700 people in that event. So we have a new top three here. So if you recall, before these events, Calvin was on top of our leaderboard after having shipped the one of the 1 day 150K guarantees. But now we have Aaron Zhang, Zilong Zhang, at the top of our Player of the Year points. And it might look funny because his cash is much lower than some of the others. But remember, the really big cash amounts are for winning the biggest events. And you can just do that without doing anything else. And also, Aaron has won 2 of the events from our that we're counting. So he has 2 outright first place finishes in the events we're counting so far. Q, as we've mentioned, he's just been final tabling like literally everything at the bike. It's crazy. Calvin stays up here, and then new addition Mark jumps up to 4th place with his win at the Classic. Now, to be fair, if I were being paid to do this and putting a little more effort in, I really ought to spread the points between Mark and Joseph a little more evenly, because they did chop it basically evenly. But Mark got first place in the standings, and I'm not spending that kind of time on this. Sorry. I am tracking 600 players here. We have now
No, you know what?
673 people in this. So
As part of your deal making, when you give up the trophy, you're giving up the trophy. So I think that's fair.
yeah. So Mark is now in 4th. We have Joel Hernandez in 5th. We have Andrew Tree in 6th. Ryan Hemmel in 7th. You recall he shipped one of the early bike events as well. Samuel Gospoyan in 8th. And Roscoe Hayden is in 9th. So old Rocky. Actually, I think he prefers Roscoe, but he is in 9th. He's been playing a lot and cashing a lot too. We see Rick Meshamil, who just
Rocky?
he is the tall, skinny fella with the really curly hair. Usually wears like a beanie. Younger
Oh
kid.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Oh wow, nice.
Yep, he's pretty aggressive. He likes to go with his reads. He's really fun to play with. And then we have a lot of familiar names, obviously. Rick Meshamil, who final tabled that the Classic as well, and then made that deep run with you in the Quantum just now.
Yep.
We have, let me go down. I know there's a few. Robert Natividad, 2nd place in the shootout this summer. We have Ryan Tosik, who also final tabled the Classic just now. In fact, that might be the only thing he did, because I don't think he's coming out for the smaller events. Lena Nemi, 28th, crushing it, cashing a lot, playing a lot of events here. Eugene, our boy Eugene, in 31st here. I am not surprised at all to see Eugene making his way up this list, and he's going to get more points with the opener, the Labor Day weekend one. He finished 20th there, as we pointed out.
Yes.
Caro, another big time reg here. I'm really just scrolling down until we get to my name. I mean, I would keep going till we got to you, but we don't have all night.
I don't even know where.
I'll find you. David Deck, he got off to a good start in this thing, but he's kind of stalled his points out. I'm sure we'll see him making a run at it soon. Jesse Jurigue, so he is in the chat. He watches a bit, I know as well. Let's see, I already did Leah, right? Or was that Leah? No, Leah. Beth down here in 52nd. She's going to get a big boost for getting 4th place. Frank right after. Look at this. Beth and Frank are neck and neck in our ratings right now, 52 and 53, and they each have me nosed right out by 10 points here right now at 59.
Yep.
So I'll probably jump ahead of Frank once we get the Labor Day weekend results. Beth's going to blast up these things. So
yeah, I kind of like being constantly hyping up this model. I think it works really well. It seems just more fair, and it just seems more sensible, right? When you take in all those factors, and when you kind of look at it, you just sort of nod like, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm glad you think that, because I found you, Derek. You're down here in 557th currently.
My gosh.
It's what you get for only going after the quantums. So I have no doubt you're going to move up these rankings quite a bit before we're through. But right now, I think it looks like you only have the one cash in the opening bike event, the 40-40. The big 4.
I mean, this is possibly going to make me have to kind of multi-table ACR and this mystery bounty this week just to get myself up the leaderboard.
Oh, Frank got set. Yeah, okay. Sorry, Frank. You will be jumping up then because that is the last bike event that counts. In seventh place will get you quite a few points. Nice. All right, Frank's trying to go for it. I have a feeling that Frank's going to try and get some side bets going on this
Yeah.
before long.
Yeah, I will never bet. I will never side bet Frank on a
Yeah,
POY.
Frank. If my aces had held, I'd still be neck and neck with you. All right. So that's where we're at. That link is on our website, and also there's a link on the website where it says which events count, and it's underlined. That's actually a link with a list of all the events that will count from the Hold'em series as well. And we'll keep updating the list at that link as more series are announced. For instance, I need to now update it with the events from the Gardens that has announced, but we will get to that in a minute. We have a couple other topics we wanted to hit on before we do that. So why don't we move on from the Player of the Year and start talking about this article here. I thought so. This article here showed up in Poker.org. It's Ari Engel had some thoughts on how to kind of improve the experience or how to hold the industry more accountable, I guess. And I thought he had some really good points here. Did you have a chance to read this article?
I did not, so I'm looking forward to hearing what he said.
All right. So the first thing here's a really interesting talking point. The first thing is he would actually like to see some us go the opposite way. So the World Series just went to a double 2x min cash, right? And then almost no pay jumps after that.
Yep.
He would like to see the opposite. He would like to see an incredibly gradual and bigger payout schedule. So for his example, you could have a tiny min cash where, say, instead of 10% cashing, you cash 20% of the people. So if you have like a $1,000 buy-in tournament, min cash is like $200. And then from that, you just go up like 200, 250, 300, 400, and the point is to make each pay jump very small, right? And I think you can see where he's going with this, the problem he's trying to solve with this, right? Stalling.
Yeah.
So his idea is we have those bubbles. Stalling gets so painful near the bubble. Also, the ICM of it and just like the feel bad of not winning anything, right? Like 20% of people cashing is better than 10 in theory, but it's, you get that trade-off of, well, would they feel worse cashing for less than they bought in for, or do they feel worse playing all day and not cashing anything? Right?
Yeah, I actually kind of feel like it won't impact the stalling as much as we hope it would, because people are just going to stall anyway. And I would just see also, obviously, the logistical nightmare of tracking all the pay jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of always a little bit of a pain.
Yep.
Um,
That's definitely
but,
always a problem live, yeah.
I think I still lean the WSOP way, but he is making some compelling arguments. Obviously, I think Ari wouldn't say anything unless he had some logic behind it. But he does seem like yeah, they're good kind of points for sure.
Yeah, I think I like it in theory a lot. In theory, right, the players who are less aware of this wouldn't be tanking as much either way, and the players who are more savvy, I mean, it really isn't much. There's really no reason for them to tank. If you're in a $1,000 tournament and the min cash is 200, the incentive to tank is very small, especially compared to the being 2,000. Is it right? So, like, I see where he's going with that. I think it could help. I agree with you about the logistics, though. Now, the one thing I'm really curious about, and we'll never know unless people kind of run this experiment, is how would people actually feel? Because I'm not so sure people know how they would feel, right? I feel like this is the kind of thing where people voted and they think they know how they feel, but I'm not sure if they are really, like, I feel like they'd have to live it for a couple months first, because the one thing I hear all the time, right? The argument you hear about paying the bubble, the argument you hear about everything is like, oh man, I spent all day, like we didn't spend 11 hours or play for 2 days to take home nothing, right? Absolutely nothing.
Right.
So it's like, well, if that's the actual feel bad, is it okay to take home something even if you lose a little? I mean, like, it makes it feel a little more like a cash game where you can lose but not the whole thing. Does that feel better? I mean, it is better for the community, right? Any money in more people's pockets is better than no money in their pockets, but that's kind of what I'm curious about. So that's just speculation, though.
I do think the WSOP probably leans a little bit more into what like excites players. especially when you're trying to attract a lot of amateurs and like we talked about like working regs, like that's going to be the biggest player segment. I think these people probably want a little bit more reward for what they have. They totally understand like the whole kind of min cash and the hours put in and all that. But I think that's probably why the Supine leaned the way that they did is because the 2x min cash feels like a significant thing, especially for an amateur who took off from work and had to play like 3 days to get to a cash rate. It feels like they made some money.
Hmm.
And then that's also something that kind of gets out there publicly and they can promote. So yeah, I kind of get it. I can see both ways, but right now it does feel like the WSOP is better for growth and promotion, getting people out, where Ari's is potentially better for just a whole bunch of like operational kind of stuff. Although it does, again, with so many pay jumps, introduces like some operational like headache.
Yeah. Yep. The guy who provided our Player of the Year formula, right? Um, Ben, I believe his name is, right. It's well, that's his Twitter name. I'm confused because it may not be his real name. Anyways, he threw out there like, what if the pay jumps were so smooth that every single person was a different amount? And I said, well, that's kind of like what Ari's saying here, but the logistics of it are just impossible. At least until you get down to like 2 tables, right? So maybe these are the kind of ideas that could work better online. Could be something you could do online, and people would be more okay with.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Online is actually the best. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like a kind of a different beast, but yeah, it's better to experiment online because just getting people the right ticket and getting you're standing in line and now you're doing varying like payouts for each person.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So his other kind of soapbox plea was that he really would like to see more transparency about the rake that's being charged. And the reason they brought this up was because there are tournaments. I think we see these a little more. Actually, we see them here. So they have a tournament where there's like an add-on, right? So, and then that add-on here, the add-ons in LA tend to go to the prize pool. The add-ons on the East Coast, they tend to be smaller add-ons that are almost like forced. You like kind of have to buy them because it'll be. Well, let me just look at his example here, right? So if the schedule says there's a 360 plus 40, and the $40 was an add-on, but then there's actually an extra $45 of rake out of that 360, and that $40 will get you like double the chips that you start with. So I mean, if you're going to play a 360 and not pay the 40 for double chips, it seems kind of like a waste. Yeah. So really, you're playing a 315 plus 85, and that may not even count if there's an extra fee, which we've started to get used to, where you look at the fine print and you see like, well, is there extra? Where's extra 3% withheld for staff that's not written here, right? So this is all just sneaky fees, right? I mean, these are all just like hidden fees, and it's really bad for us in the poker community, especially the casual folks. Sorry, hit the wrong button there. Especially for casual folks, because they may not even see that coming out. And, just like Rake in regular product casino, it's not really paid by the losers, right? The losers get as much just the right amount of money. That's what they are supposed to get, 0. The winners are the ones that pay the Rake, and unless you are a very frequent player, a real reg or a pro, you may not notice how much you're paying, but what you're really doing is playing games you can't win. You just can't win.
Right.
So, yeah.
Beating the rake is a real problem.
So I think we've been spoiled here in LA. I'm not sure if it's, the influence of Savage or some of the other folks around, but all of our structures, and, I'll bring up some of the commerce ones. All of our structures are very clear. At the top, it says 240 PP plus 15 SC plus 45 EF, right? So I can see how it breaks down right there. And the bike does the same thing, right? So
this might be a compliance thing with California.
Oh, that would be nice. But I notice when I look at the tournaments in Vegas, they're not broken down that way. And I search all around the website. I click on all the links. I look at all these different sheets, and I can never find this very easily. Depending on the venue, it's very hard to find how much rake they're taking out, and that is absurd. And then the other things on the East Coast, like you said, like just when there's these extra fees, when there's add-ons, you don't know how much of it's a fee. When there's I hate that extra percentage they write down at the bottom. So I don't know. I think that he has a really good point, because his follow-up point to that is like, hey, and then once that transparency is there, take a look, support the rooms that are doing it really well, right? Like, we're going to talk about the Garden Series soon, and their main event is an 1,100 main event with only $100 of rake coming out, right? I mean, let's compare that. the Commerce has $150 of rake coming out of a 1200, and the Park West Classic had, I believe, 100 and was it 170 coming out of
It was
that
pretty high.
1200.
Pretty high. Yeah, pretty
So
high.
100 coming out of 1100. That's, I mean, that's a steal. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I agree with him there. We really do need to try and focus on rewarding the places that are treating us right, that are doing good, that have good structures, have good cheap rakes. So,
Yep.
totally with him on all that. So I don't know. I don't think that one's very controversial. His first point's somewhat controversial and we'll have a lot of opinions. I'm with you though. It's just the logistics for me are kind of the hard thing. That's the problem with this live stuff.
It is.
So
Yeah, kinky in the chats, comparing the rake blowing up add-ons,
yep.
kind of like
Uh-huh.
hotels charging resort fees. Very good analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I absolutely agree with you there. And okay, yeah, no, great analogy, great analogy. Moving over to the EPT Barcelona, there are some changes over here that they've made to their tournament rules, and I'd like to get your take on them. I really like almost all of the ones I've seen. I guess there's one that's kind of weird, but in response to potential cheating, in response to outcries, right? There's some stuff that's going to be happening. The first one here is that when shot clocks are in play, the first action, the first pre-flop action, your shot clock will start at 15 seconds instead of 30. I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
30 seconds for no open and it's to you is absurd. Honestly, like give them 10 seconds.
That's actually hell around the bubble because everyone tanks the full 30. It's really, really annoying.
Yeah.
So I'm actually that's a good one because you don't need more than 15 seconds most of the time.
Yeah, Kevin, if you can customize that clock, let's do this.
Yeah.
The first action, woof. All right. The other adjustment they're making in response to, as the pictures kind of point out, that laptop solvers on the rail, their rule they will be instituting is that GTO solvers and charts within the poker tournament area are not allowed anywhere, which is technically the same rule that the World Series had, but this is going to be in writing. And they also extended it that spectators are not allowed to use any of these devices with solvers or anything inside the poker area either. So that seems to be what everyone is going to try right now, is to make a rule that just says you cannot use any of these solvers or charts. They've extended it to spectators. So we'll see. I think a rule like that, it's really about the enforcement, and unfortunately, it's a little bit about us policing it, right?
Yeah. You know what? It seems extreme, and I think to some people this may look extreme, but as we mentioned many times before, it kind of doesn't matter what we think. It only really matters what the perception is from the public and the perception is from recreational players, and they all thought that it was like really, really bad, right? They don't, and I think even Eating, I put up a post like we don't actually know what was on the laptop, but it didn't matter. It didn't seem like anything that was within the spirit of the game. And the polls that I put up had everyone just like, we don't like it, right? That seems really, really bad.
Yeah.
So because of that, like we, to protect the game, protect the growth of the game, which Duke is telling me that he would have if Derek mentioned the word growth, I would have enough for a 2025 main event ticket. Keep saying growth.
Basically, it's the LA Poker Roundup drinking game. Go.
Yeah, it is to protect the growth of the game. You have to do stuff like this. So I fully support like a overall blanket ban, even if it hurts me, because sometimes I just want to check a hand after I play it, and I'm just like, God damn it, now I have to go write it down or something. But fine, like that little bit of friction for me is best for the game.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's like you give up a little convenience, but I mean, it's not hurting your current tournament, which is what you're there for. So let's suck it up.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So Scala basically, nothing, no devices, no nothing, whether you're not only at the felt, but basically in the tournament area, in the stands, spectators, nothing. I think it's good. Yeah.
Yep. And then the last procedure change that they're doing is they are going to adopt the dealing shoe and the sliding dealer style. The dealers will slide the cards instead of pitching them at the EPTs from now on. And the reason for that is, we mentioned this, and I think I brought up that video, that there was that ring of cheaters who have been using tiny cameras to spy on the dealer's pitch and transmit that out. So by doing this, that particular method of cheating should be foiled. Cards never leave.
I'm gonna say even 1 out of 15, 20 deals, I can sometimes just spot a card kind of flash a little bit when they're pitched.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does feel like a big pain in the ass to be sliding cards to people, but you know what? whatever, like to protect the sanctity of the game, prevent cheating. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like most complaints of this are going to be way overblown and way nothing burgers. Yeah, okay, so Mr. Ringleader there, or Miss Ringleader has been advocating for this too. Um, it's really not slower, and as you just pointed out, plenty of dealers aren't even good at pitching. So what's the difference?
Yeah,
I mean, if you're
yeah,
not good at pitching, then what's the difference between sliding or pitching? Like fewer
yeah.
mistakes, fewer flipped cards, which means fewer go backs, which means faster, right? So
Part of me almost thinks that we'll have to see. I feel like sometimes sliding will cause cards to flip over more because of like the sort of, I don't know,
uh,
aerodynamics of it or
I
something.
I feel like it'll depend on the felt. I think if it's a good sliding
Yeah.
felt, it'll be fine. If it's like an
Mm,
older felt where the cards don't move, we could
yes.
have some problems.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But if we have good felts, I think it'll be no problem because they should move. Those things should go. So no, I like this. I love it, and I don't think it'll be a problem to train the dealers because, as we just pointed out, new dealers have problems with pitching. I mean, you see the ones, even older dealers who are good at pitching, they develop carpal tunnel on their wrist. They have those wrist braces. This could be better for that. This could save them some of that. So this could be good for that too. So I am all for that. Um, yeah, so those are the big rule changes. I hope they're successful. I hope people find out that they're not that scary and that everything's fine. And I hope that we start seeing those things adopted around here, especially the
Yeah,
15-second thing and the card sliding thing.
it looks like Kinky in the chat seems to be an expert in this topic or something, but he says a lot of European dealers do it. It's fast.
Yeah.
They don't flip up. So,
hmm
okay,
Yeah, the one or two
that's good.
videos I've seen of it,
Yeah.
those dealers really don't look like they're going any slower. So,
Yeah.
all right. So the next little bit of fun that was happening this week was Haliey Welch, I believe her name is. Haliey Welch, the Hawk Tuah girl, was at the Celebrity Poker Tour Invitational. And apparently she was all amped up for it, but was not, she doesn't appear to play much poker. Um, I didn't watch this, but this is the Celebrity Poker Tour. It's not for me. The
Hmm.
celebrities on this thing, I think I only knew like two of them. Three, I guess, if you count knowing who she is. For instance, I think Dwight Howard was on this, so that's someone.
Yeah.
But
There's a bunch of
this,
basketball players. Yeah.
yeah, this is not for me. This is for people who don't usually watch
They're
poker. This is for
It's like they're
people.
fans. It's like
Yeah,
they're fans, right? Their fans are going to come and watch this, and then I think there's still going to be people who just like hear about a bunch of celebrities going. They're going to watch it too. So it's great. It's going to draw spectators.
yep. Now I can't find the tweet anymore, but when this had come out and this article had come out, there was a tweet out there. It's by a woman poker player. I can't remember who it was, or I would have found the tweet, but she was incensed about this coverage. Now, I don't think she was incensed about her being on the tour, but there are plenty of people who are upset about her being in this thing because clearly she doesn't play poker, right? They think like, why? Like, I want to see a real poker player. What is she doing here? She doesn't even know what hands are. She folded two pair in the flop, right? So that's one side of people complaining. But this person was incensed because apparently she didn't like that in this article. She's constantly mentioned as Hawk Tuah, that she thought she was being portrayed as kind of like a dumb blonde, so to speak, or like as like not competent. That she felt like people were making fun of her, like the article and the players were making fun of her. I don't think so. I mean, you look at these pictures, and if you've seen any of the content that she's put out, like she's having a good time. She's not here
Yeah.
to be the best player and make the best plays. She's here to support a charity and have a good time and support her brand. I don't see why we need to judge her based on like us trying to be the best poker player and like feeling bad we made bad plays or something. Like she doesn't care if it's a good play or bad play. She had a fun time, right? Like
What
that's
is what is what is wrong with all of you? Seriously, what's wrong with all of you? Like number one, she seems like the nicest person in the world. Like I haven't seen that much of her, but every time I hear her, she just seems like a genuinely nice person that's like enjoying life and doing things. Grateful for opportunities. And you know what? Like she played a celebrity poker tournament with a whole bunch of people that are going to bring a bunch of spectators. And hey, Chad, I'm going to need another counter on the growth word. But for the growth of the game, it's not like just growing players and getting more players, but we need more spectators, right? We need people to watch. Spectators are going to be what brings back ESPN and brings back sponsorships and perhaps brings like sponsored tournaments where it's not players funding 100% of the prize pool all the time, right? You need that. And then you're out here complaining on social media about a bunch of celebrities having fun playing a poker tournament. Like literally what's wrong with all of you people?
Yeah, I mean, anyone new who wants to come and play, we need to encourage, whether it's an actual noob at the table or if it's a celebrity who's just doing it for, because of the press, whatever. I mean, it's all good, especially if we're having a good time, right? We all need to be promoting the
Right.
game the best we can. But in
Right.
all fairness, it wasn't everybody who was complaining, but there were some loud voices out there.
Yeah.
It was it was a holiday weekend. People had a lot of time to get on Twitter and get their opinions out. Speaking
Yeah.
of
And
opinions,
and I and I even retweeted somebody and making this point about like drawing spectators where he was um calling them almost like B-list celebrities or where so like celebrity poker tournaments
yep,
where celebrities go to die.
yep.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, are you also gonna like insult people that are coming and bringing spectators to the game, right? Do you not want them to come back because they're just feeling insulted? Like, what is wrong with everyone?
Right. Right. Like these people are, they came, they didn't organize this event. They're coming to lend um, the eyeballs that they can bring to it, their
Right.
celebrity to it. And this guy's just insulting them. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. What did they do to you? But speaking of people being out on Twitter and having a lot of time in their hands, Haliey Hanna had a bit of a controversy that she just decided to, we talked about it in our minds, kind of start out of nowhere. Unfortunately, the video that she linked is not here anymore, so we're gonna have to talk about it, I guess. But yeah, what do you think? You saw this, right? Yep, it's not
I
there
did.
anymore.
The video itself was, Abby Marks, who is a poker player, and I think she's a pretty good poker player. At some point, got hired on by WPT, and she's been doing a whole bunch of content for them. Some pretty like good videos, right? I don't think I'd like been following it like religiously or anything, but from the ones that I've seen, like they seem like they do a pretty good job promoting poker and having a little bit of fun. This one was just some silly one where they were, what was it like? Looking,
Looking for the
basically, she was
whatever
trying to
cup.
find this Estrella cup, right?
Yeah,
This
the
this
Estrella
trophy,
cup.
and then she was like looking in the garbage and she couldn't understand where this cup was, and it was like a sort of a somewhat like a little bit of like a cringy funny like kind of thing, but it just it made me smile. But then like yeah, Haley came in and just sort of like ripped it apart.
Yeah, and it, I don't know. It's just so kind of not violent, but it's just so aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it
insufferable
wasn't.
content after insufferable, and then this is embarrassing. Do better, garbage content. Like the video was
Yeah,
not
it was
garbage.
kind of
Like it was
mild.
kind of flat. Like it was kind of like I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't really like it, but I didn't. It's like whatever. It's a
It
video.
was
Like
it
what
was
do
like
you?
inoffensive. It was like inoffensive and mild.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
is the problem here? Like I've um and it really lit things up. There was a lot of big responses, people defending, people being on board and saying, "Yeah, I'm on board with you. We should we need to have better content." Um and one interesting response was the Casino King put out a post kind of blasting Poker News for deleting this post and not supporting uh, Haliey, right? Or no, Abby, not supporting Abby a little more
Yeah.
through it. I think the response was that this was to promote the EPT, so the EPT told them to take it down at that point. But I don't know. It's just like it wasn't really any kind of offensive video.
Yeah.
I'm just baffled that this was the one that broke the camel's back, so to speak. It was like maybe like Caitlin Kaminsky did a video, like her love letter to vloggers, right, this weekend, and she
Yeah.
was kind of joking about Haliey being kind of like over the top in that way that maybe that teed her up to be extra sensitive. Did I say
Hmm.
Haliey? Abby's content being like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Some
That was a hysterical
It
video
was
by me,
really
Caitlin.
funny though. Once again, it's like,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
it
Okay.
was funny. Like,
Okay.
why are we upset, right?
Yeah.
Why are we making people's image of poker players in poker this, right?
Yeah.
I cannot find that
Yeah.
video too quickly, but
It really does just seem, let's it's the same vein as what we're just talking about, with Hawk Tuah and celebrities coming. Like, let's just all support each other. We're all trying to make content. Not everything is going to be a banger. It's fine. We're not like a lot of us are just poker players who are just kind of thrust into the spotlight sometimes. We're not going to make a hit every single time. Let's celebrate our very, very elite content creators like the Kaylin Kaminskis, right? And the Marley Spraggs, right?
mhm.
And those kind of people. But, I think Abby's doing a good job with WPT, and sure, this one maybe didn't hit the mark, but definitely didn't need that type of a response.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if you were watching, if you're good enough to catch it. Actually, I think I may have found I may have found it. Let me see. Because I know I found out about this on the Watching OnlyFriends podcast, and they had somehow had a copy of it still around. So actually, here we go. All right. For those of you who didn't see it the first time around, I found it through a third.
And everyone is talking about this Estrellas Cup. So I'm here to find it first. Everyone is talking about this. Not in there, I guess. So surely this can't be the cup they mean, right? Wait, this definitely isn't it. The cup they mean, right? I mean, I have these two cups, but that can't be right. Oh, that's the cup. Got it. I mean, I have these. Good luck today, players. That can't be right. Oh, that's the cup.
Okay. I'm hearing the audio again through yours, Derek, but that's all right. So that was the video, right? I mean, I I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, we'll just leave that for you guys. That's
Yeah,
that's what it was.
It made me sort of like smirk a little bit, and I was like, nothing big.
Exactly.
Great. Let's keep grinding out more content. It's something's better than nothing.
Yep. So I don't know. Maybe it was just the long weekend. Maybe it was the heat. Maybe it was.
No.
I don't know. Let's talk about something more fun. Let's talk about our favorite place, voted the number one most favorite place to play. Best tournament director, best. What else did they win? They won a bunch of best, but best dailies. That's for sure. That wasn't a category, but the best dailies around. The Gardens. So they, our buddy Cabin over there has released the schedule. So let's take a look. Yeah. So they will be beginning their series on September 23rd on Monday, and they will be doing a number of $10,000 guarantee night tournaments, some bounties until they kind of ramp up to this Wednesday. Their knockout bounty $360 buy-in will have a $50,000 guarantee. So that's a nice little event on a Wednesday, $50,000 guarantee on a Wednesday. Then they're going to be getting their satellites at that point, which is their patented mystery bounty / milestone satellites, where they'll be giving away seats to the main event, which, let's take a look at this main event. Main event starts Thursday. So it's only Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for day ones. There are 2 flights on Saturday, with the second flight being a turbo. As I mentioned before, it's at $1,100 price point, and it's a $500,000 guarantee. Let's go. This is going to be great. I think this thing is going to kill. It's going to get to like $700K easy. I think, did we make it to 800 last time they ran this? I don't remember. But I just want to contrast a couple things. First off, it's cheaper, $1,100. However, the amount going to the prize pool is only $30, $40 less than the 1200s in the other ones. So that's huge. Amazing.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about this with the Park West Classic. We were scratching our heads. Why the heck are you starting your flights on Monday? They had flights from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like, people were getting, I mean, there's fatigue. It's like, it's so hard to have excitement for an entire week worth of flights. Right?
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, the main event, the World Series Poker main event only has 4 starting days. Like, why do you have 6 starting days or whatever for your 5 or 6 starting days for your freaking tournament? Like, what the heck? And the Park West Classic, their main event also starts on Tuesday. So they have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Freaking Tuesday, was it 5 full days worth? I mean, who's going to play on Tuesday? Seriously. I'm not going to play on Tuesday. I couldn't play on Tuesday. And I don't think they have a big double bagging bonus like the Gardens, or I mean like the bike did. So what are we doing? Why are we starting our events on a week before the actual thing over? Like, we're working. We don't want to play a week-long event. Hey, I just brought up the main event sheet. Speaking, though, of that Commerce main event, I just brought up that sheet, and they actually have something on the bottom that says they will have live reporting by Poker News. So Poker News will be here. That's one cool thing for this event. Something to differentiate for the main event of the Commerce. Now, I also want to point out, though, the main event for the Commerce, bigger buy-in, $300K guarantee, as opposed to the $500K guarantee for the Gardens event. But they will have Poker News, so that's pretty cool. And I do not see Yeah, there's no double there is no double bagging bonus. So like, I don't know why Tuesday. Who's gonna play on Tuesday? There's no
Yeah, I
double
don't know.
bag bonus. You get a min cash if you bag again. Like, I just don't understand. Like, it's crazy because it's costing you money to have staff there, and like you're gonna get like
Yeah.
you can get like 45, 50 players, like at
They've
most.
they've always done this at the Commerce. I remember there was like one time where I was like, oh, I can actually play on a Monday. For some reasons, I showed up and it was like 10 people.
Yeah, like they just had 25 people in their afternoon flight today. It's like
Yeah.
what? Ugh, like, let's do some math and let's make you some money, along the way.
Yeah.
And you know what? I tell you what, I know someone who knows that math, I bet, and he was in our chat earlier, so maybe you want to ask him for some advice. All right, but anyways, incredibly excited for the Gardens. Their main event's going to be amazing. Cannot wait. Going to be fantastic. And then the other event that's kind of note here is on that Sunday. If you didn't make the day 2, they have a 50K guarantee. It's a super bounty for $360 there on that Sunday, 50K guarantee. So that's going to be fun too. So can't wait. Going to be great. Going to be amazing. Save some money for that if you got a budget this month out. All right. Well, I think I'm about ready for the roundup. You got any more topics, Derek?
No. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. And I'll hit the right button for once. Okay. As we've already kind of gone over, the main thing, the only series left in town is the Commerce Hold'em right now. You get those cool crown trophies, that club. I got one back here behind me. So this week it is the mystery bounty. We did go over that. It's a pretty fast structure, so be ready to do some gambling, especially once those antes kick in. And it is 12 o'clock. It is a 12 o'clock and a 4 p.m. start time for those flights throughout the rest of the week. So that's going to be tomorrow, it's going to be Friday, it's going to be Saturday, and then Sunday will be the day 2. And also on Sunday, so they'll be having one-day events on Sunday. They'll be also doing a $400 30K guarantee one-day event that starts at noon, and a $250 10K event that starts at 4. So if you don't make that day 2 or you bust out early, we'll have those to play as well. So no fear. And they also have mega satellites going on all week as well. In the evenings to get into that $150 landmark satellite. Those are also landmarks. So it looks like they're no longer doing the reverse shootout that they used to do when DJ was there. I think they're doing more World Series style, and they're just doing them as landmarks with the remainder paying out is the survivor,
Yep.
Yeah, and I have one more slight gripe with the way and when I say gripe, all the things we're saying here, we're going to go and play. We want these events to be successful. When I say gripe, I guess what I mean is suggestion. Because, I was sitting there in day 2, and, as I do, if I hear someone asking about rules or talking about rules, I try and pipe up or whatever. And I heard something on the next table over, and they were very concerned about someone who checked the nut straight after a bet into a call or something, and then they just called. And they were like, is this a penalty? I don't know. Is that a penalty? So they called Jason over. He didn't know. He's like, it's going to be a warning for now. And then he kind of left, which it's a warning. That means, I'm kind of hedging. I don't really know. And I let him know, it's not a penalty. It's not an automatic penalty. Not by TDA rules, not an automatic penalty. Not by World Series rule, not an automatic penalty. Now, any casino can have your own house rules. Do what you want. Commerce might have house rules. That's fine. I said, if it's a Commerce rule, it's a Commerce rule, And I asked him, now that you're World Series, like, are you guys just using the World Series rule set, or are you using TDA rules, or is it like custom house rules? And he kind of was like, sort of probably that. And I'm like, you don't know. They haven't sat everyone down and said what they are. And this has been a complaint before about various venues. Commerce, I think maybe especially because this floor have been there so long, I feel like I've heard a couple times people saying that the different floors kind of rule a little different.
They do.
Look, I know you don't have an actual tournament director, but you guys need to make a decision as a casino. And it's very simple right now. You're partnered with the circuit. Just use the World Series rules is my suggestion. But you need to sit down with all the floor and say, this is the rule set we're using. Here they are. Read them, learn them. Kevin we talked to him. He makes his floor read the TDA rules. He quizzes them on it. Like, make your floor read the World Series rules if that's what you're going to use, and stick to it, And it's not like, this isn't like hard, right? You need a rule set that's concrete, right? So just pick one. just go with the World Series. It's when the circuit comes into town, you have to use them anyways. So just keep practicing that. Use the World Series rules, and then we'll know. And use the World Series procedures so that we can have some consistency, and your floor should know, and they should study it, right? Like, that's not hard. And nothing against them. Like, they know most of the rules. It's just like when corner cases come up, like, that's why you need it. Like, they could literally, I was telling them, like, I have the TDA rules on my phone. If those are your rules, I'll show you. But he couldn't tell me that those were their rules, It's like, come on, guys.
There's so many little things that need to happen sometimes where players really appreciate when somebody comes over, a floor man, right, and is very authoritative, knows exactly what they're talking about, takes control of the situation. We give props to Larry because he's somebody who's very, very good at doing that. Just kind of controls it, gives you what the right answer is, right, and he will just give you a penalty if that's like the right thing to do. But yeah, so some of the wishy-washiness and inconsistency is not good, and also that's what, again, Maria Ho said. That's why she doesn't play the Commerce anymore, because of that one ruling from that one floor person, and we lost Maria Ho at the Commerce.
Yeah, it's going to take a huge event to get her back. I think she was thinking about it for the circuit main, but if she'll probably come back for Tournament Champions if it comes to it. All right, so that was my side. Just please pick a rule set. I recommend the World Series rule set. Just learn it. Let's make it the standard there. And remember, the number one rule in all rule sets is always the floor's discretion rules all. So, don't be afraid to pick a rule set, guys. All right, so let's head over to Hollywood Park. This weekend, not a huge weekend for tournaments there. They have a 25K bounty event on Friday. That's kind of their good one. They have a little event on Saturday, they're regular, but there's nothing there on Sundays, guys, because the Chargers are playing at SoFi. So remember, do not go there. No tournament on Sunday. Go play cash there if you're going.
It looks like the Commerce is going to be the one this week.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. If you do want to go somewhere else, though, the Lucky Ladies running their 20K guarantee. It says, this is the one I think before, did they fix their website? Yes, okay. It says 3 p.m. in all the spots. So this will be starting at 3 p.m. Sunday, the 8th. So they have a 20K on Sunday aside from their regular events. So take a look at that. And then next week, it looks like we'll be talking about their fall kickoff events, but that is next week. We'll talk about that. So we mentioned this before. It was in the chat. I think that somebody in the chat pointed that out to us. Okay, aside from that, it is the regular schedule at the Gardens with their dailies. Their dailies are still knocking it out of the park. They are still great, and you're still going to have to get through our man, Mr. Jeremy Hamey, if you want to win any of those, because he's still down there knocking it out of the park at the dailies. So good luck with that.
He's the end boss. He's definitely the end boss.
Yep, you got him, and then you got the guy from the other week was I think his name was Kelvin, right? So you gotta get through those guys down there. All right. Well, apparently we're up to 171 on the growth counter. So I think if we go over 200, they shut down our videos. So we better get out of here for the week. What do you think?
Yeah. Let's not give me any more opportunities to say the word growth.
Oh, there you go. We got him. All right, guys.
Yeah, we need a little bell.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. It's been fun. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be focused on commerce this week. We'll be focused on pulling those big envelopes and trying to get lucky. So have a good week. Have a good stay cool in the heat, man. It is a record-setting hot week. Try and stay cool, and we will see you at the tables.
See you at the tables, everyone.